Motivation is not the real problem. Because if it was, then watching the one video would just would fix everything, right? Would change it. But it doesn't. And so maybe the issue isn't that we're lazy in that sense. Maybe the issue is our nervous system doesn't feel safe enough becoming that version we're moving towards. Okay? That could be it. So in this video, I really want to just dive in and talk about what does that look like? W- How does it show up? What, if anything, is stopping us? And what do we get to do to kind of like make sure we're not relying on motivation in regards to getting the things that we want? And I guess the key thing that I want to like start off talking about is, I guess, the lie we've been sold about how, oh, to do that thing, you just need more motivation. You just need to get that drive. You need to get that hunger. You need to like go for it. And it's all good and well. We get this hype culture, especially like in the beginning of the year. It's like, yeah, it's the first of the year. It's like I'm going all in. I am doing my thing. I'm going to say the most common one is like lose me some weight. Yes, we jumping on trends or um challenge, like the one that's kind of like going on that I'm noticing right now is where you post um, a video a day, which I love the concept about, like really building that muscle of showing up and being comfortable in front of camera or like just sharing your messages or getting clarity in the motion, right? That's the drive and the communal of like we get to do this every single day, like showing up on video, like a real like setting. There's that going. So people are excited with the hype that's going on. We're like, oh, let's get ourselves ready and all these things happening. Cool. And then we feel inspired by it. Or for me, like going to an event and like really getting into the atmosphere and the energy and like just being immersed in this place and having all this like feeling of like I can do this. Let's go. I've gotten this breakthrough. Let's do this. I am like on, and then go home, then get back into normal routine. Life happens and do nothing. My lived experience. And and then the hypeness of the whole thing sort of just fades away. And then we're now into like what real life means. And it's just in that space, being fired up, being in that like drive and like, yeah, I got this. And in that doing, still feeling stuck. Nothing is happening. And we get into this feeling, this momentum. And all of a sudden, we now start maybe overthinking. Like I would just overthink, like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna start doing that. I get to do this and do this first and make this happen and this bit and that bit. With that overthinking, that desire and everything to like show up becomes like, oh no, I ain't like, that crash feeling. You go to the event or whatever, you come back and it's like flatlining. There is nobody hyping you up, like, let's go, or like telling you, go do the thing, or this, how, like, think about, like, gone, feeling gone. And with that desire, okay, this is what I want to do. We want to make sure that everything is fine. The T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. Like yeah, me. And with all that, start having this because the desire and nothing's happening, we're not in this shame loop of like, okay, nothing is truly happening and like whatever's going on is not happening. And it just starts to become quiet. And because of that mode of in whatever we are doing, we're in that comfort zone, right? And now with this motivation to want to be and do and have, we're edging out and we have this discomfort. And that discomfort most time is just read as danger. Like I would just be like when in a feeling of like, oh, I'm undercharging myself here and like not really putting out for my words and all these things. I get to do that stuff. And then it's now a case of like, oh, yeah. But we wouldn't like click send for my in my case or like do the thing because now my system is just not agreeing with this thing I'm trying to do. So even though that initial like the hype was there, the energy was there, this is exposing me. It's making me feel unsafe. This thing. So with that now, that like excitement or that thing is now becoming like a belly tuning, turning, feeling like antsy, and all these things are happening. And the growth now begins to feel like getting out of control. Like it's just, I'm losing control, if anything, because of like how everything is just happening and how it's just not flowing. And with that, my body is just telling me to just stop this, whatever that is. And then with label it, or I label it lack of motivation, when really it is just my system just sounding out the alarm system going, danger, danger, we do not like this. This is not happening. And I avoid doing the things or that I know that I want to do. Like I'm like motivated to like this season, I'm gonna start, charging my worth. I'm gonna start doing this. And then when it's now time to do the thing, avoiding the replying or avoiding doing the thing or even putting my prices up or thinking, oh my, like, no. Or even when like wanting to show up online, it's a case of like, oh, what what are they gonna say? What's that person like would do? Or like, what about if nobody says anything and they say you're what? And you're not even having no views, or this is not happening. All those things are just what happens when we say we want to do something, but the nervous system's not on board. The nervous system is like, no, we want the expansion. I want to be able to like gain more. I want to be able to be in front of more people and be more spaces and all those things. But at the same time, my wanting, the desire, what I'm saying, or the things that I'm desiring, and what's going on inside are in this misalignment. And my nervous system wants safety. My desire wants the thing. And then when I'm like, oh yeah, I want it, but I'm not feeling like it. Because what I want and my identity, it hasn't caught on. It's not, they're not on the same level with the thing that I want. It has not caught up with my desire. And because of that, the excitement of like, oh, this could be my new normal, or this is the thing I want. And it will start to sound like, mm-mm, it's not what. And it'd be a case of like when you think of like, oh, I get to post, it's like, oh gosh, I have to post over, like, oh, I used to do that. And then the shame comes in and they start feeling guilty. Like, I said I want to do this thing. I said I want to do that. But this is the thing. We don't lack motivation. We lack congruence. like really like getting into that knowing of what we want and how we are as someone who has that are not on the same page yet. So when that's not the case, all this starts happening. The nervous system starts playing up, all these things start showing up, and then we have this limbo of what this gets to look like, how this is showing up, what is happening. It is so important, and people think like, oh man, I'm not disciplined, I don't have I don't have the motivation, because your nervous system's not okay with it. It is not. And I guess the turning point for me, having that realization that it's not necessarily the motivation that is the problem. It is when I realize that the discomfort I'm feeling because of the thing I'm doing, I am sensing it as danger. So because of that, I'm start doing those moonwalking backwards of like, we're not doing this anymore, because this is not, we're not feeling good with this. It is not helping how we feel, how we're showing up. And then it was a case of like, Nene, we're deciding before we're ready. We're doing this stuff, even when we're not ready to do this thing. We're doing it. We're embodying that person who does this. I decided that I was going to be that interpreter before I was gonna like. I was always a case of, I would love to, like, I want to be that. Like, yeah, it'd be nice, but it's saying you can't be, and this thing feels so hard. Like, I don't think if I can understand it, I get it. And then one day it was just a case of like, nah, I'm gonna be that. And with that, how does someone like that start showing up and start feeling? Does it mean now that I've decided I'm now on par? No. I had to like start doing and connecting. I started like acting as someone who, okay, now let's just start with, for me, then it was a case of like, how do we just show up and walk in? Because then, I mean, then I wasn't as like, as in shy, but I was still very like introverted in my like way how I show up. So it's like I'll go in there and it'll be a case of like, I'm your interpreter, like the really submissive way, and then it's a case of like, see the deaf person, and I sit down and it's like I'm on there, like on like walking in. I tell you, the first time I went into a thing and like I just walking like straight up with posture right into that space. Like I had this thing, like the door frame thing. I go in through that and like, yeah, let's go. Let's do this. And just by doing that and just showing up and aligning, okay, this is how somebody who is that interpreter works. Like this is how they go into spaces. This is how they like interact, and this is how they show up. And by doing that and start feeling and embodying that, instead of being okay, you know, things we just started like writing for me and started doing. And then it was a case of like, okay, we're posting, right? We're doing this daily thing. And it's who am I being posting? Why am I posting? And the whole idea, what do I get to be? Aligning to that reason why I'm doing a thing, what's going on, helped with that momentum. Helped with that. Even with the days that I didn't feel like it helped with it. And instead of waiting till I felt like 100%, I felt safe in a thing. All I had to know was like, what's the purpose of the thing I'm doing? What's that gonna happen? And then we show up. We're 68 days in this daily thing that I'm doing. And the very first one, I just knew like, whoa, who would I be at the end of the year showing up every single day, I don't know what that gets to like. I can imagine what that would be, but imagine some like how would I be able to like, start presenting myself, like start sharing my story? I set it up being very mechanic and really like, okay, this is what I want to talk about, and I'm very like scripted and very like this, and now evolved into okay, we get pointers and we just like go with like what I know, my lived experience, what I've like supported, and what I want to talk, than a case of like, yes, I have to make sure I say this exactly as it is, what I've said I want to talk about, what that lesson is, or what this gets to look like, or this is the thing. Even when I didn't feel it, we're doing a thing. And that's how we get that the alignment, the congruence in the thing that we want to do. So it's about reframing how we see motivation completely, like changing the way it is. Because we're relying on that, on the motivation, nothing's going to happen. There's only so much that can take us. Because motivation is an emotional identity, it's structured, right? Because when we can like figure out like, okay, this is how we're structuring ourselves, this is what we're doing, that helps with the motivation. When you know that, okay, I said I'm going to do this every time, but this is what that gets to look like. This is the person who said they're going to do this every single day, acts and be, and what they do and how they show up. Aligning to that with that structure is a motivation coming. And like seeing the reps in the thing that I'm doing. Because what that does is when we see and change how we're seeing it, that motivation is what sparks that identity sustaining. So is that initial thing that gets us in, and then now with the identity we have, it's going to support us moving forward in that which we desire. It's a thing that like pushes us to keep going. Because as we know, confidence does not come before the action. As I'm taking the action, ideas starts coming. Okay, I can start off my videos like this, or in the beginning, like the first couple of weeks, you can just see the hesitation of how do you end this thing? Like, oh, yeah, bye for now. Awkward. Now we're getting there, and after in a couple of weeks, months, who knows, I might learn a much better way on how to seamlessly end this, or how to like even make things even better. But the confidence in now having to end the way I'm ending now is there. If I was waiting, oh no, let me know how to end this, how to end videos first before I start showing up, then we won't be having this conversation. Because it'll be like, how often? Like, it won't be a thing. But because I like, we are doing this stuff regardless of how it looks like. And after every video, we celebrate. We did one down here. We did that. And then that just feels like the next day, it just becomes like we're doing the thing. We're showing up. Like it is what it is. Because when you look at like, especially even in like my um different aspects of my life. Because I remember when I wanted to, when I started learning sign language, right? It came out of um an opportunity came where the church I was at the time had a deaf member join in, and they wanted volunteers to come and learn so that they can feel, part of the family, in the feel welcome and everything. And before then, we had somebody who was like coming in to just interpret for them, and it was quite a way, and it's becoming long-winded or whatever for them, for the person to just keep was quite a distance, and it wanted members to learn so they can. And then, the desire was there. Like, this is me, this person just in the back in the corner. And then I was edging or finding a seats that I could see the interpreter signing, and just looking. So when the opportunity came in, it wasn't that I'm like, oh yeah, me. It was actually, I shared my desire, and then somebody actually said, oh, Nene, we go for it. And I'm like, I went in there. And this is like the desire, let's do this thing. They gave six of us the opportunity to go and learn, go find a place that's local to you, and then we'll pay for it and take it from there. So I did my thing, found a place, started going to the class, and it was just like, it was exciting. It was like, it was there. It was like, yeah, we've got this. And as I was going through the class, right, I made it like, okay, I want to be able to have a conversation. I think that was my driver with this thing, or like to make this person feel good. By the end of this stuff, out of the six of us, I was the only one that completed at the time that they said you should complete. Like, after the whole course thing, somebody else, like, it took them another while, and the rest just, life happened. This posting thing I talked about earlier, right? When you look at it, after a while, you can just see people just dropping off and dropping off, and like, oh yeah, life happened. Da, 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 da. Nervous system wasn't regulated. You weren't congruent. You didn't have the identity of someone who does that posting every single day. All those things were not happening. That's why the fallout happened. When in it, it wasn't a case, okay, yeah, there's certain things, life happens, and it's great. But sometimes it is that safety hasn't been built in through those reps for it to like follow through to the end. That conviction is not there as someone who is this person that does this thing all the time, this person that shows up, that is connected, that is aligned. Because if we don't work on figuring out, okay, what's this thing that's holding me back, or what is my body trying to tell me, like what's it protecting me from? Why am I hesitant in this thing? What is the underlying thing that's happening? By asking ourselves those powerful questions, by asking ourselves like, okay, why is this? What do I get to do? Aligning with that which we want, knowing that, okay, this is how I show up, or this is what the thing is for me. This is how, you know, what that gets to look like. Because asking ourselves, what do I like? How do I get motivated? Right? Asking ourselves that is not going to support us in any way. It's not going to do like bring the idea that we need to support us moving forward. But instead, if we can ask, what part of me doesn't feel safe moving? And then with the response that we say to ourselves, that would then help us in figuring, okay, oh, all right, is this bit, is that bit. We then do the work to make sure that bit is cool, is fine, and then we align. Even asking yourself, who would I be? Who would I become for this to feel normal? When we know, like for me, that interpreted for me to be like, they walk a certain way. They approach, they have conversation, they don't second guess themselves, they don't do this. once you know who your body gets to be and like all those things, then you start noticing like your how your body reacts. You start noticing like what's showing up for me, like, and you can even start naming how you're feeling. What's this? So the whole idea is for this is then you're now separating the danger from what is discomfort. You can then see like, okay, this is this like what that is, and then with that awareness and without knowing, you start moving. We move anyway. We're doing a thing, and then we celebrate. We celebrate we did that. Because we really need to figure out what it is for us. It's either what don't I feel safe about, or who do I need to be to for this to be normal. And once we know that, we start knowing all those things, checking our body out, making sure that okay, what's happening, what's going on, figuring out what's the difference between the danger and the motive, like the danger and the discomfort, having those the awareness, and then taking a step forward, and then we celebrate every step, everything we're doing, we're celebrating, we're because through repetition, we're building that safety in ourselves. We're building that identity of self, getting that connection to the thing we want. And that's how the identity is built to consistency. That person who we want, we're now it. And because we're working on that every day, we become it. We are now so aligned and so connected to who we're being. Because when we truly listen to our body, like sometimes when we say we want to do something and we start being on edge or whatever, and just the act of just breathing, and then we move, and then we take that action. But when we feel like, oh my goodness, I feel like, okay, where? All right. Reassuring the body we're safe, we're loved, we're whole, we've got this. This is part of the becoming. This helps take us to that next level state. This is just getting us aligned to that which we want. Telling her, like, we've got this. Thank you for sharing, brain. I appreciate you for trying to keep me safe, for telling me that this is danger. I hear you. I appreciate you, but I've got this. You can go sit in the back seat. I'm taking charge. I'm driving this us forward. We're moving. When we can start really getting our system on par, start doing the thing and building the confidence on that, really tying in and connecting with the identity that we want for self, then we're ready to move. We're go time. And with that movement and reassuring ourselves that with that even though we might not know how how that end bit's gonna look like, we just going through a tunnel in the dark, right? And our flashlights, we just get to see 2, 3 steps ahead. Keep moving, keep doing, building the reps, the muscle, and we just start shining away. And we start moving and doing a thing and connecting as we show up and trust in self that we have this and that it's not about us lacking motivation. It's about the lack of congruence. Now that we know what we get to do, how we get to show up, and how we get to connect with self and do the thing that we know that we are meant to do, then we know that actually We don't need motivation anymore. We we get to feel safe in the expansion of whatever it is that we're doing. And that bit is trainable. That bit we can do with the reps, with the conditioning, with showing up. I was gonna say every single day. Yeah. Just showing up and doing a thing. It's something that we can train. Building that muscle and getting that feeling of safety of we get to do this. Like I'm just thinking of like things that I've ever thought of a time where you do something and you're like, oh my gosh, how can I do this? And now you're looking back like, how? It's like driving a car. You look at people driving a car and it's like, I remember when I started driving, I was gripping those wheels like at the end you could just see like my nails dug into my palm because I was how tight and I could just feel. And now, if I want to cruise with a one hand or tilt with the other, it's a thing. And I think, oh yeah, before it was just huge. And the same is true for this, whatever it is that we're desiring, is so trainable with the reps, with the thing, you know, it is, it is possible. And this is, I really want us to remember that our voice matters and it's our time to use it, to go there, do the thing, get a congruence. And it is something that you want to support in getting you to that point of like, I am such in alignment, I am so congruent in the thing that I'm doing. Don't, don't hesitate to reach out. Let's connect and support and see what that gets to look like for you. I am Nene. Bye for now.